Hello everyone and welcome to Embody Babe Yoga. I'm Ashla, I'm the creator of Embody Babe, and I'm super excited for you to join me in this yummy, restorative yoga flow for low back pain. I have personally been dealing with low back pain for years now, and I'm a dancer, so it's made it really difficult for me to move in the way that my body really wants to move, and yoga has been a lifesaver for me. The moves in this flow are very restorative, but if you have any type of pain at all, because I know our bodies are all different, please come out of a pose if it doesn't feel good for you, or if you feel like we're holding it a little too long and you're getting more tension than you are relief, just come on out of that pose. We want to do what works best for you and for your body. I'm super excited for you to join me in this flow today, so grab a mat and let's get started. Begin in a cross-legged seated position on your mat. Hands placed lightly on the knees and the eyes closed. Really focus on sending your tailbone down into the mat and keeping your spine long as the crown of your head reaches towards the sky. This is where your healing process begins, in this moment. For this practice, every little movement is important. How we begin and end each pose and how we move through them in order to keep our bodies safe and allow healing. Begin to notice the breath and start to lengthen the inhale and the exhale. We hold so much tension in our bodies, which can often lead to pain. Stay conscious through this practice of the breath and allow yourself to breathe through each movement in order to release some of that tension. At this time, I want you to set an intention for this practice, whether your intention is simply to ease the pain, decrease your stress, or just breathe, whatever it is that you need at this time. Once you have your intention, begin to move the body around in a circle. As you bring the body forward, make sure to keep the spine straight and not arching the back. As you come back around, hollow out the back and round the spine. This is a wonderful way to wake up the spine and immediately loosen up those tight muscles. Now reverse the circle, moving in the opposite direction. Inhaling as you come forward and exhaling as you go back and round the spine. Lovely. Now uncross the legs, open the eyes, and bring the feet together to touch in a butterfly position. Clasp the feet and begin to bring the body forward to a straight back. You want to feel a lengthening in your spine, but no rounding. A lot of times we tend to round in poses in order to reach a further extension, but this actually can cause damage if our bodies are too tight or if we have a particular injury. Breathe here for 5 breaths with deep inhales and exhales. Begin to roll the body up from this pose slowly. Release the feet and come to an all fours position, hands directly under the shoulders and knees directly under the hips. Don't let the back collapse here, but use the core to keep a straight and strong back. Begin a cat-cow, but really notice the low back here as you start your cow. Don't overarch the back, in fact, barely arch at all. For anyone with low back pain, we need to make sure that we pay close attention to how we release that part of our body. So lightly lift the tailbone, still keeping the core engaged, and tilt the head towards the sky. Now round the back up into a cat position and feel the stretch of your spine. This should be a great release for the back body. Repeat your cat-cow one more time, inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Now we are going to add child's pose to this mini flow. So inhale into cow and then round the spine into cat and come back into your child's pose as you keep that same curve in the spine. Transition back up to cat as you keep the spine rounded, then slightly tilt into your cow. Repeat this 3 times slowly, inhaling as you come forward and exhaling as you move back. Beautiful job, guys. Release the flow and come back into that strong tabletop position. So in order to have a pain-free back, we need to strengthen that part of our body so that it's less susceptible to injury and weakness. So we're going to extend one limb at a time as we focus on keeping our core and back strong and engaged. Begin with the left arm, bringing it forward. Don't allow the back to sink down here. Hold for 3 breaths. Release the arm and repeat with the right arm, holding for 3 more breaths. You might get a little shaky here, but that's totally normal. Release the right arm. Now lift the left leg up to hip level. It's important to keep the spine elongated here and your core tucked in. Overarching the back when your legs are up can be quite harmful to someone, especially with low back pain. Hold here for 3 breaths. Release the left leg and come back to tabletop position. Lift the right leg and hold again for the last 3 breaths. Perfect. Okay, come back to your tabletop position. Just breathe here for a second before we lift into our downward facing dog. As you begin to lift the knees off the floor and push back into position, keep your core engaged and almost think about slightly rounding the base of your spine or bringing the tailbone under here. Keep the knees bent generously and pedal out the feet slowly. Instead of thinking about rotating the shoulders, here think about pressing back towards the feet. This will help keep your spine in the correct alignment and not sink down into the shoulders. We are going to hold here for 5 breaths, keeping the knees bent. I love this pose so much. Okay, slowly begin to walk your feet towards the hands until you come to the front of your mat. Grab opposite elbows and begin slowly rocking side to side. This is a wonderful release for the spine. Keep your knees bent here. This is a really gooey stretch for the back, and you can just move around in any way that feels good to you. Slowly begin to roll the body up to standing position into mountain pose. Feel the feet ground towards the earth and the hands placed gently by your sides. Notice your spine here. Are you arching the low back? Are you too far forward? Keep the crown to tail connection here as you hold this mountain pose. Channel the inner goddess that you are, strong and proud. Great job. So we are just going to do one small flow here into a standing posture before we make our way back towards the mat. Inhale, begin to reach the arms toward the sky and lift the gaze. Swan dive forward and come into a forward fold, keeping the knees bent. Inhale, come up to a flat back, keeping the fingertips touching the ground. Exhale, fold back down. Bring the arms back up to a standing position and bring the hands to heart center in prayer. Open the body to the right and bring the right foot back, transitioning into our triangle pose. Angle the right foot in and keep the left foot facing forward. Straighten the arms and begin to reach the left arm forward and the body towards the front. Then come down to your triangle as you begin to bring the left hand to the left shin. Right arm is extended towards the sky. You can keep your gaze up or down, whichever works best for you. Remember to keeping that core engaged. Hold here for 3 breaths. Keeping your core engaged, begin to lift the body back up to standing. Bring the back foot to meet the front, inhaling the arms up and bringing them back to heart center. Let's do the other side now. Open the body to the left and bring the left foot back. Straighten the arms and reach the right arm forward, then come down to your triangle and bring the right hand to the right shin. This pose is great because it lengthens the side out of the hips. So much of chronic low back pain can be caused by tight hips, so really stretching those hips and sides out will be really beneficial for you. As we come out of this pose, keep the core engaged and come back to standing. Bring the back foot to meet the front and slowly lower down to the knees. Now we are going to come into our half split stretch. Don't be fooled by the name, it's a really great stretch that will help you lengthen out those hamstrings. Bring the right leg forward and straight as you settle back onto the left leg. Lengthen the spine up and begin to slowly come forward. Keep the spine straight here and hold for 3 breaths. Slowly move out of the pose and bring that right leg down into your pigeon pose. The right leg is angled and the back leg is straight. Really try to keep the hips level here if possible and begin to bring the body forward and rest the head gently on your hands. If you want to stay up on the hands, that is perfectly fine. I just find that for my back pain, this tends to create a little bit more tension, but do whatever feels best for you. Hold for 5 breaths. Begin to lift the chest as you move out of the pose slowly. Come back to a tabletop position and we will switch sides. Bring the left leg forward and settle onto the right leg for a half split, keeping the hips level as much as possible. Lengthen the spine and slowly come forward just until you feel a good stretch. Hold for 3 breaths. If you feel any pain at all here or in any of these forward folds, please come out of them. Slowly begin to come out of your half split and bring that left leg down at an angle into your pigeon. Bring the body forward to your comfortable place and hold for 5 breaths. Begin to bring the body back up. Those hips should feel really nice and open now. Come back to all fours position and slowly come down to one side and a seated position on your mat. Straighten out both legs and remove the fleshy part of the sits bones away so that you feel your sits bones firmly rooted on the ground. Bend the right knee and lengthen the left arm up. We are coming into our sage twist. I normally don't like twists for back pain. This one is really quite restorative and I find stretches out my hips nicely. Bring that left arm around the right knee and place the right arm behind you. Turn your head to the right and look across your right shoulder in a very gentle twist. Another gooey pose that I absolutely love. Hold for 3 breaths. Very nice. Now come back to center, switching sides, bending the left knee and reaching the right arm up. Wrap your right arm around that left knee and bring the left arm to the floor, looking over your left shoulder. Perfect. Okay. Bring the legs back together and open the legs as wide as you can in a straddle position. Now don't overstretch here. This is just a nice pose to open those hips up some more and lengthen the spine. Come forward with the spine straight. If you find that you have rounded the spine, you've gone a little too far. Hold for 5 breaths. Slowly roll back up and bring the legs together. Shake it out a little bit. Bring the body back down to a laying position on the mat. Position the feet right under the knees and bring your arms right by your sides. We are going to come up into a bridge pose here, but a very restorative bridge, and only come up as much as you feel a really nice stretch. The point of this bridge is to just feel that nice stretch and not overstretch those muscles. Think about lengthening the tailbone and keeping the core strong. Hold for 3 breaths. Slowly lower back down to the ground. Okay, so we are going to move into some pelvic tilts here. This is a nice and fun little exercise to do when you need immediate low back pain relief. I want you to think about pressing your low back and pelvis into the mat, keeping the knees bent. Now allow the low back to lift just slightly off the mat, tilting the pelvis down. It's a little pelvic rock. Repeat this 10 times, slowly lowering and lifting into this little pelvic tilt. When you've completed your 10 little pelvic rocks, bring the knees to the chest and begin to rock side to side. Now, keeping the hands on the knees, begin to bring the knees around in a circle one way, massaging the low back. This is one of my favorite little self-massaging tools. I love doing it sometimes when I'm feeling any type of tension or pain in my low back and need simple, quick relief. Reverse the circle in the opposite direction. So good. Now come back to center and take the knees out away from one another and come back through the center in another variation of circular motion. Out and around, out and around. Now reverse, going around and out through the center. Slowly come back to center. We are going to move into happy baby, bringing those knees towards the armpits and pressing the low back into the mat. You want to lengthen your low back out here as much as possible. You can either rock side to side playfully or simply stay here as you focus on that low back strength. Hold for 5 breaths. Release the feet to the mat. Bring your right leg across the left in a figure 4 position. You can keep your left foot on the ground at first, just seeing how you feel in this position. Feel free to stay here, or if you want a little bit more stretch, lift the left leg off the ground parallel to the mat. Hold the back of that left leg and slowly bring it towards the head. This is a really nice and deep stretch, but just go into your comfort level. Hold for 8 breaths. Release the leg back to the floor and switch sides. Bring the left leg across the right, keeping the right foot on the ground at first. Slowly lift the leg if you choose, bringing the right leg towards the body and breathing into the stretch. Inhaling and exhaling for 8 breaths. Release the pose slowly and rock side to side as you release the low back. Our final pose is Shavasana. I'm going to give you a few options here and you can pick whichever works best for you. I personally don't find comfort in a traditional Shavasana because of the curve in my low back, so I like to take it up against a wall. If you have a wall nearby, you can take Shavasana with your legs up the wall and your low back pressed gently into the mat like I'm going to do. You can also take traditional Shavasana lying on the back in corpse pose or with the knees bent. I will demonstrate both and then move to the wall for my Shavasana. Settle into whichever position you have chosen, closing the eyes. Notice the breath and then slowly releasing it as you allow your mind and body to fully rest. If your legs are against the wall, make sure that your low back is not coming off the ground. Release into this relaxation. This is your time. Slowly start to notice the breath. Begin moving the fingers and your toes as you bring your body back to awareness. If you are on the wall, slowly bring the legs down. If you are on your back, roll to one side in a fetal position, then rest here a moment before coming up to a cross-legged position as we started. Come back to your intention. Notice how your body feels in this moment after those gooey and restorative poses. As we bring our hands to heart center, I want to remind you how strong you are. I want to remind you that this pain or this injury does not define you. You will get through this, and I am here to support you along with thousands of other amazing goddesses. I send you love, healing, and strength. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today, guys. If you like this video, please comment below, click the like button, Subscribe to our channel and stay updated on all that Embody Babe has to offer. We offer everything from Latin dance videos to salsa to burlesque tutorials to even more yoga classes that will help you to embody your inner goddess.